Get ready for an unfair advantage over your competition. This is the Sales Edge podcast, where globally recognized sales expert and trainer Joe Pici helps you sharpen your skills for booking more appointments and closing more deals. And now, here's your host, Joe Pici.
Welcome back to The Sales Edge, and this is Joe Pici of Pici & Pici. And at The Sales Edge, our focus, our goal, our specific intent is to help you gain an unfair advantage over your competition. We aim to help you attract, retain that quality client, that help you to get in front of that decision maker, help you to sell your competitive edge. And in previous podcasts, we talked about, some of the bogus beliefs, some of the misconceptions people have about inhibiting their ability to get to selling because of, as Zig used to put it, stinking thinking, wrong thinking about what sales really was. We talked about feeling guilty if you couldn't get a person to buy, not thinking you were the right person to sell, when in fact it had nothing to do with that at all. It was maybe you were sitting in front of the wrong person at the wrong time. We talked about the importance of learning how to make those powerful connections, much more important than product knowledge, so to speak. We talked about that we should not be robotic in our communication styles, but we needed to become masters of communication, learning how to speak in the other person's processing and receiving styles. We also talked about the misconception of that some people just have the it factor. Some people, because they talk a lot, because they're outgoing, they're very gregarious, we assume they are great in sales. We assume that they were born with these skills, when in fact, sales is a series of processes and learnable skills. And so hopefully we have helped you understand that some of the thoughts you may be having or people may be having that when you say the word sales, they tend to bristle. Really, it's more about misconception. It's really not understanding what sales is and really being able to get yourself out of the way, not to communicate in a way that you turn people off, but you engage people and they want to have a communication with you. Well, today we're going to take it another step. We're going to be talking about another one of those quote unquote bogus beliefs, another one of those concepts of where people might put their emphasis. The bogus belief we're talking about is focusing on your client's unmet product needs will close more sales. Once again, focusing on your client's unmet product needs will close more sales. And I will say, excuse me, of all the, not errors, but of all the things I've seen in sales professionals, of all of the approaches sales professionals make, I would say about 95% of the sales professionals out there today lead with their product. Regurgitate tons of information of the quality, the manufacturing, the history of their product. And they believe that's a very powerful aspect, and it is very important. And I will tell you, one of the most asked questions I get from my clients is, Joe, when hiring a salesperson, should we hire a person with great understanding and knowledge in our product, or should we hire a person with great knowledge and expertise in our sales? Well, I will tell you that, that's a controversial topic. That's a topic that people will lean either way. And I do believe this: whichever side you go to, whichever side you pick, whether it's a person with sales skills or a person with good product knowledge, the other half is going to have to be trained. The other half is going to have to you're going to have to be diligent about bringing that person up to speed in the way you want things sold, how you want things sold, and their knowledge. But the real belief, the real belief is focusing on the benefits and solutions and results your product delivers will close more sales. Let me say that again. Focusing on the benefits, results, and solutions your product delivers will close more sales. I use this analogy quite a bit in our sales training, and I talk about a concrete wall. And I say, if I wanted to hang a picture on that wall, what would I need? And people look at me and, what do you mean? No, I want to hang a picture, and I can't hang a picture like if you're hanging it in your house where there's drywall, well, just about anything will go into drywall. What do I need? And the smart person in the room will say, well, you need a drill. Exactly. So you have to go to Lowe's, you have to go to a hardware store, you have to buy the drill, you have to buy the bit. But what do you really want? You really want the hole. At the end of the day, the drill is the product, but the hole is what the product delivers. Hopefully that painted a picture. I believe that you have to become a master at leading with the whole. You have to become a master at leading with the what's in it for them. What is this product, service, what does this deliver? So now, in the thousands of companies I go into, and I'm in thousands of companies, and I work with a lot of individuals, a lot of solopreneurs. I also work with people who are in the speaking training industry that would like to increase their client base. You know, as I'll ask them questions, and I'll say something like, okay, you're in front of your client, or you want to get in front of your client. What do you say? Now, here's something else. I am not on a no-call list. I allow people to call me with their sales pitches. And I'm going to tell you that 100 out of 101 people, whether they're selling or whether they're trying to get an appointment or whether they're generating leads, they want to regurgitate. They want to tell you all about the products and services and features and features and features. Folks, sales is not hunting. Sales is fishing. And to catch wonderfully large fish, you have to have great bait. And the bait is the result. And so the first thing I'm going to say to you today is take out a pad, and I want you to look at the products and services that you're looking to sell. Look at the products and services that you would like somebody to buy. Now what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to write down 4 or 5 benefits of what that product and or service delivers. So, for example, I never tell anyone I'm a sales trainer, but what I deliver is quality leads, booking more appointments, increasing closing ratios, gaining an unfair advantage over your competition. Now, if they don't want those things, they probably don't want the features I deliver. Does that make sense? So when you look at your product and you really hone it down, this product does these things, but in doing these things, what does it deliver? What is the end result of this client? How does this help this person? So if you look at everything the opposite way and lead with those benefits, results, and solutions, what's going to happen is you're going to get in front of more people. You're going to be able to get in front of your target market more consistently. They're going to be more open. They're not going to be as defensive. And if you find people being defensive, it's usually because you've given them too much to think about with respect to, when I walk on a car lot, here's what I don't want. I don't need to know everything. I only want to know what I want to know. And most car salesmen do not sell correctly. They get in your face and tell you all about the car, and all about the car. I don't buy the car, I buy transportation. So understanding that, I'd like you to begin to rework what you're doing if you're leading with product knowledge and lead with the results of that product. The next aspect of that, the next phase of that, another bogus belief is knowing the right words to use will close more sales in every situation, which means words are powerful. There's no question. We do a lot of wordsmithing. We are actually hired from people all over the country and other places in the world to really look at the words they use, their scripting, and all that. And that is a very important aspect of selling. However, a more focused and a higher return will be focusing on communicating your intent to help the client will close more sales. So where in your presentation can you explain your ability to help that client reach X destination? And that has to be with sincerity and with transparency. It has to be with a process. It has to be with a systemized approach. And so when you look at the dynamic of coming along side by side with people and partnering up with them, this is not a transactional operation. This is not that your product, does this. Your product does this for their benefit, and you're there to help facilitate this process. So hopefully this is helping you with respect to that. You're getting an idea that sales is more like surgery than anything else. Now we're going to move into one more bogus belief. And this is that closing the sale happens after the sales presentation. This is very transactional thinking, and transactional is get to yes or no as fast as possible, use ultimatums, use guilt. You're there with the intent to close the deal. Many videos out there on the internet, always be closing, ABC, always be closing. And what I'm here to say is closing the sale is a natural conclusion to a sales process cycle that begins with the first contact. Let me say that again. Closing the sale is a natural conclusion to the sales process cycle that begins with the first contact. So when you look at the process of selling, my approach from the moment I get a lead, the moment I shake hands with you, any aspect, is to not close you, it's to open you. It's to begin the relationship of building rapport. Rapport is building know, like, and trust. People buy from people they know, they like, they trust. And if you're there in their face with the idea of I'm here to present to close, how do you build know, like, and trust? And so if you're looking for a long-term client, if you're looking for a repeat client, if you're looking for a client that doesn't feel like they've been manipulated, they've been used some cheap trick to get them to say yes, because that's where you get your remorse buying. Sometimes I was in with a big client, a national client, and I was at their national sales meeting, and I was doing a keynote. And I said, I've observed some of your approaches, and I believe some of you are closing too quickly. I think when you close on a product and you don't close on a solution, I think you have a problem there. I think a person comes to you. I'm reading a book called Never Split the Difference, and the first word out of somebody's mind or mouth usually is no. They're defensive when you're out on the attack. But if you're there to solve a problem, and if the goal is just to, in your initial meeting, to get information, find out their concerns, the areas of improvement, find out where they'd like to go, find out if they have a timeline. If you're there to do a discovery, they're less defensive. You live another day, you have an opportunity. According to national statistics, 82% of all sales happens between the 6th and the 12th contact. One of those contacts can be the initial sales meeting. And so if you understand the law of numbers, if you truly understand the law of numbers, then you may have to do more than one meeting. Now, it's been my experience at Peachy & Peachy, who sponsors Sales Edge, when somebody says no to me initially, when they're not ready to move forward, most times it has nothing to do with price. Let me say that again. Most times it has nothing to do with price. Now you're saying, well, wait a minute. Isn't that the number one reason why people don't move on? Actually, according to Guerrilla Marketing, the 8th reason why people say yes or no is price, unless you don't know how to sell. But they can use price as a kind of a stopgap, kind of a wall, an excuse, a way to get rid of you. In our experience at Peachy and Peachy, what we've experienced is when I sit across the table from someone, if they say, no, I don't want a proposal, or we're not ready to move on, or whatever, usually they've decided that we can provide the solution. We are the deal that will help them. They're not ready to proceed. You see, one of the things that we're known for is we do live outbound telephone call training, where we don't do role play. We do real phone calls live. And so we'll do it in setting appointments. We'll do it in collections. We have a whole series of types of phone calls and scripting we use. But once they've kind of researched us and they realize that we're the real deal, and what we're going to do, we're going to strip away the barriers. We're going to literally strip away barriers that have gotten in the way of their success. So we're going to take away the fears. We're going to take away their inabilities. And now they have to face the man in the mirror, so to speak, about are they ready to do that? I sat with a man about 8 years ago, has never worked with us. And when I got done interviewing him, he said, Joe, I'm not ready for you. And I don't know that I'll ever be ready for you. He said, Joe, I know you can help me. I know you can help me get in front of my target market. Joe, I know you can help me book more appointments, but I don't know if I want to work that hard. And honestly, I had a lot of respect for him. I said, well, thanks for being so transparent and honest. The reason why people say no is not always the reason they give you. And so if you make them feel guilty, if you use some kind of cheap trick to close with, they may say yes. They may be a remorse buyer. They may hate the way you sold to them. They will never be a resource to you. They will never refer you in any way, shape, or form. And you're building a business long term. So the whole sales process, it's all part and parcel. From the moment I meet you, I'm beginning to build a relationship with you. I'm beginning to develop what I believe is rapport, know, like, and trust. And once I have that, I know this. Eventually, you're going to be my client. And so I'm building a business for the long term, not for the transaction. So this has been The Sales Edge. Please feel free to send me any email questions. Those questions should go to joe@PICIANDPICI.com. In the tagline above, please put Sales Edge. Our sponsor is Peachy and Peachy, and so I get questions at Peachy and Peachy all the time. But if you want this for the Sales Edge, please feel free to send me questions. And I promise you, in ongoing shows, we will address those issues. We'll address them forward. The thing is, in these 3 items that I discussed, do an assessment of where you are. Do an assessment of where you feel you can get better. Should you ever want to have a complimentary cup of Joe, be intentional. My phone number is 407-947-2590. I'll take your call. It's going to be a short call, but make sure it's intentional. Say, Joe, I'm calling you. We connected on Sales Edge, and I have a question. I have no problem with that. I love the phone. I believe the phone is the most effective way of communication in business. I think it cuts out a lot of wasted time. I think it gets you in touch with people. It begins to know, like, and trust. So this has been The Sales Edge, and we're looking forward to seeing you in the future. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for listening. New episodes will air each Tuesday and Thursday, so make sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and give us a 5-star review. The Sales Edge is sponsored by Peachy and Peachy Incorporated, a firm which provides training, consulting, and keynote presentations, empowering corporations and individuals to attract and retain quality clients for higher revenues and growth. Make more money in sales. Speak with Joe in person by calling 407-947-2590 or visit www.peachyandpeachy.com. Spelled PICIAND, PICI.com.